From that point on I started to notice how he lied about everything, about being in a relationship, to past work experience. And he did it without thought. What is a seemingly insignificant thing that reveals a lot about a person? If you want to know what a man's like, take a good look at how he treats his inferiors, not his equals. Sirius Black. Who, one book later, treated his only underling like utter garbage. Their greeting. If they're seated, do they stand up to shake your hand? Do they stand straight? Do they make eye contact? Is their grip firm and confident? And so on. It's momentary, but it reveals a lot about you. The condition of their car. Not the type of car, but whether they keep it clean, vacuumed, and washed or full of junk, fast food wrappers, and clothes. It can really tell you a lot about a person. The amount and cleanliness of the icons on a person's desktop. I don't have any icons on my desktop. What does that say about me? Form over function, shallow and depressive, possible psychopath. Treat with extreme precaution. I believe that whether or not a person is good at buying, picking out a gift for someone else says a lot about how much empathy they have. Like, my dad has only ever been able to get me stuff that he thinks I should like, not stuff I actually like. A revealing trick is to watch people from a distance, looking for moments when they are not interacting with people or things. The pieces are very short, but for a moment their emotions can break the surface and show you their state of mind. If someone is willing to share food, sometimes the person just wants to share to make other people happy because the person isn't. And I thought I shared food because I was nice. Ha! You're broken and you need to please others to fix yourself. Punctuality. Everyone can run a few minutes late, but when they are always late, or act like it's no big deal, that's a bad sign. They are either flakes, insensitive, or just think your time is not important. There's a special place in hell for people who don't put their shopping carts back in the parking lot collector thing. And the same goes for those who dump unwanted, perishable items wherever they happen to be at that time. Is it so hard to walk back and put it where it's meant to go? At the very least, bring it to the checkout when you pay, and tell them you changed your mind, we'll put it back for you. I've got no time for laziness. How they treat the waiter. I always watch how the people I am meeting for the first time treat waiters. That generally sets the tone for how I treat them for the rest of the meal, and even for the rest of our relationship. Seriously, how do you mess up the waiter-patron exchange? If you passed kindergarten, you should have enough social skills to answer the waiter's pleasantries with a "we're doing fine and yourself," then place your order. It's not that challenging of an exchange. Littering. It usually tells me one of the following about someone. Duck it, someone else has to clean this place, not me. I don't give a crap. I'm careless, messy, and ignorant about the consequences of my actions. It's even worse when there is a perfectly good garbage can in sight. I don't get why smokers feel like they are God's exception to this. Cigarette filters don't sweep themselves up and go to the trash. They earnestly don't think it's littering. I've quizzed smokers about this. They believe that because it's so small that it's insignificant, and they also believe that it will dissolve when it rains. First, no. Secondly, and then what about all the chemicals in the filter that are there to trap some percentage of the bad stuff from getting into the lungs? Oh yeah, hell with nature and wildlife. I've always felt that if I become infinitesimally mega rich, I'd pay homeless to pick up cigarette butts from the sides of the roads. Then I'd do a series of public service billboards just showing an actual container of a ton of discarded cigarette butts showing the date and place they were collected. This helps visualize that cigarette butts matter, and no, they don't just disappear 72 hours later. The world is not your ashtray, damn it. I'm a little late to the party, but I've always found that the way people generalize the world, and the people around them, is often a reflection of how they view themselves. How do they react to criticism? Are they trying to better themselves, or are they defensive, blame-shifting, or victimized? Do they often attempt to give people the benefit of the doubt, or do they condemn them without first asking questions, or trying to empathize with their point of view? Do they make broad and sweeping generalizations about human nature, or even about large groups? Examples: humans are violent and greedy by default, women are irrational and emotional by nature, people will take any chance to screw you they can get, etc. I spent years as a catering chef and the bulk of our meals had carved roast beef as the protein, or one of them. After a couple years of serving people beef, you started to notice patterns develop. For example, bigger people, gym junkies, and blue collars usually have more meat, with older people preferring meat a bit more well done. Most women would take about 2/3 to 3/4 the meat that men of about the same age do. The skinny mini-size 2 girls couldn't possibly have more than 1 ounce of meat, and the slim little guys who metabolize as fast as a Ferrari usually take the most. It got to the point that I could start serving someone size and doneness with only, "How does that look for you?" and being right just by sizing people up as they approach with probably 90% accuracy. Not being sexist or judging or anything. Just observing and relaying the patterns I noticed. How they treat customer service people, from waiters to the people at whatever store they're shopping in. If I want to know the true measure of a person's character, I watch how they treat others when they have no special reason to be kind, and are in a position of power. If they act with grace and consideration, I want them in my life. If they use their stature to make someone else feel small, that tells me I do not need them personally or professionally. I've been in both classroom and office settings, but in both I have noticed something. In both there is usually an annoying guy that's a tad different, however the guy is usually extremely nice. When people laugh at that person, just because they don't fit into a mold, they are instantly revealing a lot about themselves. Edit: sorry, I should have clarified a bit more. While there can be someone that makes people uncomfortable, this person doesn't. He just may do something as innocuous as telling stories that have nothing to do with the topic, or stories that are too long. Edit ×2, there are different types of people that do this, but there is only one type in this instance I am referring to. It's nice people who are not the standard definition of smart, that take longer to grasp not only academic concepts, but also social concepts because of their intelligence. They take longer to understand a concept in class, or just to understand how to talk to people, because they don't have as much emotional intelligence, because they are not as smart. I am referencing when people like this are mocked because others recognize that they are not that smart. If they lie about themselves, even a tiny one. Coworker and friend of mine was having a conversation with someone nearby my desk, about how he dropped out of coding school, because it didn't suit him. I wasn't paying attention to the conversation until I heard those words. Currently, I'm going to school for software development, some people may call it software design, or just programming but coding school? Piqued by interest, so I joined on his conversion. After a few minutes I realized he didn't know the first thing about coding. From that point on I started to notice how he lied about everything, about being in a relationship, to past work experience. And he did it without thought. He knew I was studying software development, and could have figured out that I would have seen right through him, but he kept talking. At that point I distanced myself from him. Compulsive liars are scary people. Helping out animals when they don't need to. My girlfriend's sister just got married to this guy, and I wasn't super sure about him. Well, last night we were leaving their place, and 2 dogs were running around off leash. We waited around to see if anyone was coming for them, no one came. So I ran over to them, told them to come, and they came to me. They were 2 well-groomed, well-behaved dogs, obviously not strays, no tags on their collars. Well, he and his new wife had plans with some friends to go out for drinks. He told her to call them and tell them they were going to be late, and to explain the situation. We took them to the ASPCA and dropped them off. Turns out the owners stopped by the next morning and picked them up. It was the highlight of my day, and now I respect him for how he acted toward 2 defenseless creatures that, truly, he didn't need to do. But what really amazed me was the fact that on the drop-off form for the dogs there's a part where it says, "Would you adopt the animal if no one claims it them?" and he checked that part. With that he earned my respect, which is quite difficult to earn. Like and subscribe, for more funny, interesting, and scary r/ask Reddit videos.